Here's a topic that I have been, I wouldn't say screaming about because I don't like to scream, but I have been ranting about this for years. And now I am guessing. And the reason why the game of college football is going to be forced to change is because of the NFL. The reasons why the product of college football is going to have to adapt is as interesting as the rules themselves. So let's step back for a second. Why would college football, the game that you watch, some of you watch, or might be inclined to watch, or gave up watching, why would it need to change? And I'm going to tell you, it really, really needs to change. The product needs to change. And so there's this disconnect, right? Because there are people, particularly in the South, and this is what I think is becoming a problem for the networks. So big picture is this. As college sports wants to be a bigger game, and I know you're going to say, well, it already is a big game, but I'm talking about a scaled content provider. As it wants to make more money, as it needs more money, which I think is probably driving a lot of this, it needs more money. If it wants to start competing in a world where you're paying guys off legally, then you need to make some more money. And so they've realized we want to make some more money. We think we can make some more money. And so, listen, if football exists on TV to sell ED, drugs, pizzas, and beer, we got to do a better job of providing an audience, a bigger audience. So the game of college football is hugely popular in the South, and it's hugely popular with people that are fans of their school and fans of the game. I'm not sure any of you that watch college football, I'm not sure if you're a fan of college football, if you view it as a problem. I think you probably think the game is great. I think you probably even like that it's different than the NFL. It's a more messed up version of the NFL. It's a longer version of the NFL. See, I think that's a problem here, is that fans of the college game like the college game the way it is. I think you're wrong. I think it sucks. But I think that's part of what has been going on. But there's a bigger problem with trying to change. So the college game is acknowledging, and I'm going to guess because networks have told them, exactly what I've said for a few years. You want to be in the entertainment industry, you need to be better at it. And your game takes too long. It's miserable. So you guys have got to figure out a way. If you want us to keep paying you a lot of money, please make it where it is easier to digest, where it's easy to consume. We want your game to be more entertaining, be more like the NFL. There. That's what they're hearing from the networks. I don't know that college football programs and conferences, I don't know they're hearing it from you. I'm not sure you're that bothered by it. I don't know how you're not bothered by it. You ever try to go to a college game? One, particularly in the South, it's 100 degrees. Two, it's expensive as hell. And three, go ahead and take a look. The last game I took all my kids to, by the third quarter, they're under the seats because it's so hot and they're tired. It just takes forever. So they're going to try to change because the networks have told them to change. And they just now can't figure out exactly how to change. I can fix that. The reasons it's being mentioned now is I think what the NFL has done, the NFL is so masterful and so good at creating content and digestible content and tweaking its content. The NFL is like NASCAR. I know it's weird to say. NASCAR and NASCAR drivers, they'll do anything to put on a good show. Anything. There could be some guy getting hauled off at a stretcher and he'll stop and do an interview. They believe in media. They believe in the product, and the NFL does the same thing. They will change a rule mid-season if it means the product is better for TV. College football hasn't changed in decades, and it doesn't work. The NFL has set a bar that's so high as an entertainment product that it makes the college game noticeably bad. I find the college game oftentimes unwatchable. But the fans connected, I'm not sure you feel that way. So I'm not sure how this is going to, I don't know how this is going to sell. I really don't. I'm not quite sure there's not going to be pushback. And it's certainly going to be pushback by these multi-million-dollar coaches who are like emperors on their college campus. Now, if I'm a network, I'd say, you know what? You know what, coach? Shut your face. I'm the one paying the bills. Here's the way it's going to work. I think that might be happening now. Reason why I bring all this up is that there's a story out today. It is getting talked about probably a lot. If it hasn't yet, it will be. And that is the idea, the story being kicked around that college football is trying to change some of its rules. The goal would be, so you understand the big picture goal, networks are saying, and I have a different take on this, but the networks are saying, listen, you got to get in and out in 3 hours. These 3.5 hour games, these 4.5 hour games, it doesn't work for us. So you need to do a better job of tweaking this thing to give us 3 hours. I think the problem with the college game is not just that it takes so long, it doesn't flow very well. It doesn't flow because it stops too much. I'm bothered by both. I'm more bothered by the fact that the game doesn't flow. See, college coaches are going to tell you the fans want more plays. No, doofus. We want more interesting games, okay? The NFL actually has fewer plays in a game, but they're meaningful plays. That's all we care about. Make it interesting. So I don't think the game is flowing. If it flowed better and there were fewer stops and fewer goofball replay discussions, if there are fewer timeouts, if there's, stopping after every first down, I mean, if there's fewer stops, it would just flow better. Man, NFL games, and partly because they're pros, the best on the planet, they just flow better. You don't really unnotice that it takes 3 hours. So there are a few areas that have been pitched now about college football. The headline is college football executives reportedly mulling clock rule changes to shorten games. So some of the things that they're talking about doing is doing away with multiple timeouts. You can call multiple timeouts in a row in college football, which is stupid. They are talking about not stopping the clock after first down, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Where they screw it up, though, is stopping the clock with the 2 minutes left. So there are a few tweaks to the clock, which are sort of boring, nuanced football stuff that are being kicked around now, and it's not enough. I'm telling you, it's not enough. Let me offer, and I don't think I've changed on this at all in years, and it seems pretty simple. And the problem with college football, I understand a few things. One, the biggest problem in college football is that it doesn't have leadership. The NFL is masterful at being small and mobile. And it's small. It's 32 owners and one commissioner, and they live for one thing, and that is to make money and put on a good product. College football is dozens of conferences, hundreds of schools, all with different agendas, and nobody really calls the shots that is concerned about the product itself. So there is no centralized product manager and no centralized product creator to get people on the same page to come up with ideas. So it's screwed from the outset. That's why it hasn't changed in decades, because nobody wants to make any changes. So what happens is on college campuses, these rich coaches who are only working and existing to cover their own butts and make more money, they're not really that worried about the product you put out. What they want is just to win some games, play some cream puffs, and get paid more. The whole model is screwed up. The college game seems to think more plays are better. That's wrong. More meaningful plays are better. The NFL operates on drama and compelling plays. College football operates on let's just keep running more plays. So don't stop the clock. Here you go. Here's 4 simple ways to fix the game. Right away. No brainer. Do it right away and the game gets better. Do not stop the clock after first downs at all. Period. Anytime, anywhere. Stop it. What they're proposing is to not stop the clock after first downs, which if you saw this in an NFL game, you would scream. You would say, oh my gosh, I can't hang with this. They're pushing an idea that would stop the clock in the last 2 minutes after a first down, which is precisely the wrong idea. This is how stupid that industry is. What's most meaningful in a game? The last 2 minutes. What's the most compelling? The last 2 minutes. Don't stop it. You want to watch somebody scramble and try to make a play. You want to watch somebody hurry up and try to make a play. That's compelling. So their idea right now is screwed up from the outset, and that is don't stop the clock after first downs until the last 2 minutes. And that is an actual proposal on the table, which is idiotic. Don't stop the clock at all after a first down. Got it? The other one that is just asinine, that has not made any sense, and I think it would probably change if somebody had the guts and the foresight to call the shots, but a ball carrier should only be down by contact. This idea in college football where some guy leans down to catch a pass, he's down for a 5-yard loss, is idiotic. The game doesn't flow. The more times the ball stops, the worse the game is. You want the game to flow, let the guy go until he's tackled, period. Next, the ball is spotted where pass interference takes place. Make pass interference meaningful. In other words, if some guy gets hacked in half at the 2-yard line, guess where the ball goes? The 2-yard line. Right now, every pass in college football, I know it's not true, but it feels like every pass, guess what happens? Interference. 15 yards. I tell you what'll make it flow better. You commit enough interference penalties, and all of a sudden the ball's inside your own 5. You're in trouble. Change it. There. This is going to be a deal breaker. This is where I lose many of you. This is where I lose the old college football fan, and I'm going to be the devil for suggesting this. But here it goes. Shorten halftime. Sorry. The NFL is 10 minutes. That's good enough. Sorry. It's time to stop. It's time to move along now. Sell a couple commercials, go change your shoes, and get back out there. That's it. Next, and I think this is the biggest problem, and it's hard to believe that college football does not have enough engineering capability to figure this out. But I think the biggest problem, other than stopping the clock on first downs and just sort of mismanagement of the clock in general, the biggest problem is replay. It looks like a mess. It feels like even the biggest games feel like it's high school football. Every other play is getting reviewed. The reviews take forever. The reviews are clunky. You know what I think the problem is, although I don't have an absolute solution, but I think the problem is you got a bunch of old dudes running replay. Some referee who's, teaching PE class most days of the week is talking to some senior citizen who hasn't seen a game since the 70s, and it's clunky, it's tiresome, and it doesn't work. And I realize they don't have the money the NFL does to have some command center, but you need to figure this one out. I don't care if you have to walk down the street and turn it over to a bunch of college students for a 6-pack of beer. They could do a better job of replay. It needs to flow better. Fewer plays need to be replayed. And then when you have a replay, that process needs to go faster and there needs to be more camera angles. So if you're going to push back to the TV industry and say, you know what, our games will go faster if you help us out with camera angles. Do that and we'll make a better game. That's it. That's where they need to start. The only thing, amazingly, the only thing on the table right now for college football, of which the games typically take, 3.5 hours or so. So you would say, gosh, it's not that much longer than an NFL game. Right. Because it feels clunkier. It looks clunkier. There's too many starts and stops. It feels like it's 5 hours. Where an NFL game is 3 and it feels like nothing. It flows. The college game just doesn't flow. You don't need to stop. The downs need to move quicker. The replays need to move quicker. The interference penalties need to go faster and move more dramatically. And you'd find that the game would flow better. It's more watchable. And that's what the networks care about.